Welcome to The Other Dimension with the team, Damon Penny, Ben Winfield, and Louisa Brown. We guide you through the supernatural, the occult, and the unexplained, answering questions that will make you question your grip of reality, with special guests guiding you through everything from demons to divination, cryptids to crystals, religion to skeptics. We explore in depth the true meaning of the unexplained. So strap in, kick back, and enjoy as we enter the other dimension.
Hello everybody, it's that time again. It's your Friday Night Paranormal Fix. It's the other dimension. Go crazy.
Yay!
My man the other way. I'm here tonight. It's me, Damon Penny, your host, and I'm joined by special guest Kate. Oh, thank you. I've probably been sitting here talking to myself for an hour.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure. Thank you for asking me to join, as always.
It's great to have you on. Everyone loves it when you come on. I don't know what it is. You just got that.
I don't know.
What are the videos about you?
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
I don't know what that means. I know it's French, but I don't know what it means. I have no idea.
We'll go with it being very positive.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully. Nice. You look quite tanned, Damon.
We just had this conversation. Is it a deja vu or something?
Yeah, I just thought I'd broadcast that you look quite tan, but it's a natural tan. It looks lovely.
Yeah, thank you very much. I need a haircut. Definitely need a haircut. So it's gone a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I look a bit like homeless. So I'll deal with that.
I thought it was like the Viking way, you know.
Yeah, but it's gone from Viking into like grunge. So I need to sort it out.
Right.
But the girls at work the other day decided to like braid my hair and put like the little silver tassels in it, and then they done one to my, and I just look like an idiot. So I'll deal with that.
Wasn't for you.
Wasn't for me. Right, guys, quick one. Don't forget we have affiliates and we have other shows here on the other dimension. So we're going to get that out of the way. Check the video out and have a look at all the different shows and affiliates we have here on the other dimension.
Welcome to the Other Dimension Network. Exploring the unexplained. In partnership with Embrace the Dark Paranormal Science Beyond the Grave, Haunted Museum and Spirit Shop, Stoke. And lock in to our other shows. The Witch's Closet with Scarlet Witch, Divination with Louisa Brown, Occult, History, and Science with Ben and Lou. Only on the Other Dimension Network.
There you go, guys. And also got to mention, if you do want to be part of the Other Dimension Network, if you do want to run your own show on the network, just get hold of us. We don't charge for anything. We're quite good like that. Roll call time. Let's see who's in the chat. Big shouts out to Nico, out to Dave, out to Natasha. Big shouts out to Jessica, out to Phoenix, and out to Annette. Big
Hi,
chat.
guys.
Like it. Right, tonight we are talking about the conspiracies around our very own Lady Diana. And it's a show that I've been planning for a little while. I'm glad Kate's here to help out. Before we go any further, little disclaimer for you. All the conspiracies that we talk about tonight are not the views of me and Kate or the Other Dimension. They are views that have been posted publicly on the internet. And this is not us scaremongering or making up suggestions. It is all public knowledge and available publicly on the internet.
Yes, and I would just like to add that we have huge respect for Lady Di, and yeah, just to throw that out there. May she rest in peace.
Yeah, she was a very influential character to anybody who sort of loves the royal. I'm not a royal guy. I don't really like the royals. I don't think it's ever for a long time. But her as a person, the work she done with charities and the work she done public eye was just absolutely second to none. She's amazing, and I can see Will and the other guy. I can't remember the other guy. I've always known William, but I can't. Harry. There you go. Will and Harry are probably going to follow in their mum's footsteps and do exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of controversial things going on with Prince Harry at the moment. I'm sure you've been keeping up with it all, Damon.
Oh no, not me. I don't keep up with it. So let's get into this now. We all know that I think it happened in 1999 or 98. I don't actually remember. I did write loads of notes.
When she passed?
Yeah.
97.
I was so close. I wrote a load of notes down for the show, but I've come to a friend's house to do the show tonight, and I've left all my notes and dots. So I'm doing it from memory, guys, so bear with me, okay?
That's impressive. Oh, yeah, it was the night of August 31st, 1997, the incident.
What I know that the craziest thing about it is whenever something epic happens within the world, I can something's going on that day. Like, for instance, when the 9/11 attacks happened, I was about to board a plane to go to Greece, and we was watching it in the airport. And like when Lady died, it was literally like a month after my birthday, and I was going on holiday again, which is quite weird.
Oh my gosh, can you not go on holiday for a while?
I've not got a passport. You're all right, Kate. I'm fine.
Okay.
Now, we all know about the accident that happened in the tunnel. There are a lot of rumours that go around of things happen. We're going to cover some of them tonight. And we're just going to literally, me and Kate's going to have a chat about it, stuff that we know. Now, the driver, Henry Paul. What do you know about Henry Paul, Kate?
I know. Okay, so just a really quick question, Damon. Do you know how many theories there are, conspiracy theories about Princess Di? Yeah.
A lot. I couldn't give you an exact number, but there's got to be at least 40 to 50 different conspiracies.
There's actually 175.
Jesus.
Yeah. And all of those theories have been examined. All 175 of those, from the small to the big ones, the profound ones. Yeah. And I just found that mind blowing, because I thought there was like 6 or 7, not 175. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, the thing is with Lady Diana, it's almost the same as like the JFK assassination. When you look at the conspiracies behind the JFK assassination, there are hundreds of different theories, but each theory has its own merits, but has its own downfalls. It's not, if you look at the conspiracies behind 9/11, there is one conspiracy but people have different versions of that conspiracy. It's not the same with the Lady Diana, the JFKs, the Wacos, and all this sort of thing. There are numerous conspiracies that all sort of go down the same sort of lines, but they're completely different. Like, you've got the one I was about to talk about was the fact that supposedly Henry Paul was drunk when he was driving the vehicle.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Wasn't there rumours that he was drunk, but his tests came back negative?
His test came back negative. There was CCTV imagery from the hotel that they were eating dinner at, which clocked him. He had, I think it was 1 sip of a whiskey, which doesn't put him over the amount of units to be able to lawfully be drunk while driving. They did do his blood results. There are rumours that his blood results were meddled with as well.
Yeah.
During transport, and that's why the first results come back as negative, but the second results come back as positive.
Right. Yeah, I know there was some kind of mix-up or something weird going on with his results. They don't know if it was staged kind of thing, like with his results, and then or meddled with, whatever the word you want to use. Yeah.
The mainstream way of looking at it is it's because they were being chased by paparazzi. That's why the accident happened. But they also have the theory of the white Fiat Uno that was supposedly in the tunnel that collided with the Mercedes, because they found white paint on the front of the car, and then they traced the paint. They done some carbon dating. I don't know what it was, but they traced the paint that was on the front of the car back to the owner. This is the craziest thing. I read this and I was just like, that is mental. The owner who owned that car, the car hadn't actually moved for 3.5 months previous to when the accident happened, because the person that owned the car had been dead 3.5 months before the accident of Lady Diana. So either the car was stolen or it was a plant.
Yeah, that's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. And who was driving? Do they know who? Like, was it a paparazzi person driving the Fiat
No,
Uno or
the normal person. Supposedly he
a
come in,
normal person?
and as he come off the slip road, he was driving too fast, lost control of the car, veered into the front of the Mercedes, which then pushed it into the where it hit in the middle of the tunnel. That was the theory behind it. But when they, like I said, when they looked into that theory, it turns out that the driver of the car had been dead 3.5 months previous to the accident actually happening. So they went along the lines of it was a stolen car. There was also
Right.
that brake lines were cut.
Yeah.
But now they can't test that theory because in the wreckage of the car, it was too mangled for them to actually test whether the brake lines were cut or not.
Right. Right. Now I do know when Princess Di had. Do you remember that bombshell of an interview that she
Yes.
gave?
Is that
Yeah.
about Prince Charles, the one she gave to, is it the BBC reporter?
Exactly, like the revenge
Yes.
interview. She did say, because they asked her, "Do you think you'll ever be queen?" And she said no. And she said there was something about her car had already been tampered with, her personal car that she was driving, and the brakes. I
Yeah.
think the brakes didn't work, did they? And she almost had a terrible accident then. And
Yeah.
it just makes you think, yeah, what a coincidence that somebody's tampering with her car even before this accident.
Exactly. We'll get into the theories of why she died, because there are 2 or 3 major ones that do stick out when you think about Lady Diana, but we will get into them. But for now, just a couple of comments in the
Yeah.
chat. Paranormal History says there are always going to be theories whenever something major happens. There always
Hi,
is.
Scott. Yeah.
We always talk about something on the show. If you study the occult and if you study like these hidden agendas and these hidden societies, they practice something called cloaking, which is hiding things in plain sight. So, for instance, I don't know if you're in America now, aren't you, Kate?
Yes.
Have you seen a dollar bill?
Have I seen a dollar bill?
You must have
Yeah.
a dollar bill. Have you seen that it's
Yeah.
got all-seeing eye on it?
No.
It has.
Okay. I'll have to go and grab one in
You'll
a
have to have
sec.
a look. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
the new ones, but the old ones. But there are dollar bills that have the Illuminati. It has a pyramid with a triangle at the top of the pyramid and the lights coming off of it, which is like an Illuminati sign. So
Right.
it's in plain sight. Like, it's something that they do. So if you're looking at occultology and things like that, the whole thing with Lady Diana, if you actually look at where she died, triangulated with the position of the route that the hospital took, the route that the ambulance took to the hospital, it actually draws out a 5-point star.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you sure that's not just a coincidence? Like, that's way.
A lot of conspiracy theories are coincidence. A lot of it is
Hmm.
happens. This fun enough happened at this time, and people go, "Oh, I'm going to put 2 and 2 together and get 4."
Yeah.
But after the route that the hospital took, because the ambulance took it, went to a certain hospital, then got turned around, then went to another hospital, then after it dropped to her health, it had to stop somewhere else, and then go back, and then you have to, if you trace the lines of it, it actually makes a 5-pointed star, an upside down one as well.
Right. I see. Now, I do have a sort of report about the ambulance and the hospital, because everybody said, why the hell wasn't she taken to hospital straight away? And the argument they came back with is they said that in most countries in Europe at that time,
Yeah,
they would do all of the emergency care in the ambulance. The hospital was really, really, really the last resort, because they didn't want to move the person. They needed attention immediately and they wanted to solve everything in the ambulance. That was their argument against why she wasn't taken to hospital immediately. But then again, when you look at how long she was in the ambulance for and how long it was driving around.
hour and 17 minutes she was in the ambulance. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, yeah. And you just think, how long does it have to be before it's that much of an emergency to actually take her to hospital to have care?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just bizarre. Why? And you said also the furthest hospital, it wasn't the closest. They were driving round and round and round. Like, why do they have to drive round? Why can't
Exactly.
they just pull over?
This,
There's a
this is
lot of
where
questions.
Yeah, this is where my mind sort of goes. There's something iffy about this. Now, you've got.
Yeah.
She was a celebrity, no doubt about it. She was a celebrity. She was known all around the world. She kept her
Mm,
Her Royal Highness, even though she was divorced from Charles and that. And they've done that for a reason, because of the amount of popularity that she had. Now, you're talking about a royal who is a celebrity person, someone in the public eye. If she's in a car accident, the first thing you'll do is get her somewhere and get her treated.
yeah, immediately, like, because all eyes on
Yeah.
them, right, to do this.
But I spoke to someone in my family who works for the National Health Service in this country. And I spoke to her about this, and she said they do have things in place where if a hospital is unable to treat somebody or they are full, they have
Right.
what's called a stop, so you can't go to that hospital. She said maybe
Yeah.
that the only hospital that wasn't on stop was the hospital they went to. But then there's a new. I don't think it's new. I found a book. It's called The Autopsy.
Mm,
I can't remember who it's by. I've got it indoors. I read it, and it talks about the autopsy of Lady Diana. And it says that they found a small pinprick hole in between her big toe and her toe next to it.
oh,
And the relevance of that is during the Second World War, Soviet spies used to kill their own by injecting them with adrenaline in between that part of the toe, because
okay.
it heals twice as quick. Because it's something to do with the skin there, but it heals twice as quick. So it couldn't. It would portray itself as some form of heart attack or heart failure, but it wasn't. It was induced man-made. And the
Mm,
autopsy talks about finding this pinprick hole, and that's another thing where I go, hold on a minute. If you couple that with the fact that she spent an hour and 17 minutes in the ambulance, they
mm,
fast enough, and then they find this hole in autopsy. And if you actually look, she actually, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure her autopsy come back that she died from heart failure.
really?
I think her heart.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be coincidence. It could be, yeah, it could just be one and one and one and one and one, and we've all put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I could be chatting complete crap, but it's a bit too coincidental. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I have to look into the author of the book, The Autopsy, and have a read of that. That sounds really
Really?
interesting. Because they said when they found her, she was alive and she was bruised and battered,
Yes.
but there was no sign that it was that severe. It was only, they say, when she was treated in the ambulance that she had internal bleeding and all of that going on inside,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But you don't know.
No.
It
It's just
is,
it is majorly crazy because
yeah.
I mean, you got the what was the other one? The theory that it was something to do with the bodyguard that she was seeing as well. Can't remember.
Yeah.
Because she had rumors playing
He
around.
he he died, didn't he? He had a car accident, a
Three
motorbike accident.
or 6 months later.
Yeah.
That's a bit iffy, isn't it? That is a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
That is really iffy. I can't remember his name. I'll have to think of it. I did have it written down, but I can't remember his name. Because she was supposedly had an affair with him, and then she was
Mm,
and at the same time she was seeing a tennis player as well. I can't remember what it was. What his name was. So I mean, it's correct. Oh look, Paranormal History. Scott's confirmed it at the top of the pyramid, on top of the dollar bill.
oh, okay. I'll have a look at that later.
You said you're going to go have a look. I was like, oh my God, if she comes back and says that there ain't one there, I'm going to feel like a right div.
Mm.
So I'm glad someone else.
I just found that the Princess Diana, when she talks about her car, so in the interview she said she would never be queen and there was like weird things happening, but it was actually in a letter. And so Diana's, oh yeah, so the butler had been given this letter, Paul Burrell is his name, Paul Burrell, who was given the letter, and the letter says, I'm sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. And then there's brackets, and then it says, is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for Charles to marry. I mean, that is scarily accurate.
very, very accurate.
How would she know that? You know, it's almost like a premonition as well, isn't it? She knew.
Yes. See, I didn't know that Diana suffered with bulimia either.
No, I didn't.
It wasn't until I
No.
started doing the research, and when we decided last week we was going to do the show, that I actually started watching documentaries and that. And I didn't know that she suffered bulimia, and she also had attention deficit disorder as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
About a
that.
story, she talks about her life with Charles, and this is actually available in a documentary which I'm pretty sure is on the BBC, or it might be on Netflix, one of the two. But if like I said, everything that we're talking about is in the public. She talks about her life with Charles and how Charles never showed her very much interest, and she was somebody who had interest from the person that she was with. And at one point, she actually chucked herself down the stairs to try and get attention, and he still ignored her.
Yeah. I mean, bulimia is such a serious eating disorder, and you know there's something really bad going on in somebody's life, something they're really struggling with.
Yeah.
And it comes out in this form. And I just feel so sorry for her, because she just deserved so much better in her life for what she gave to people, what she did. And for her to go through all that suffering, it's just such a shame. It really is. She just craved attention, really, didn't she? She just needed to be loved by her husband, not by people. But
she was loved by a nation, but the one person
yeah,
actually wanted to be loved by just didn't want to. It's horrible.
yeah,
I suppose that's, and this is my own opinion, not the opinion of anyone else, I suppose that's what it's like marrying into the royals.
yes, yeah.
Don't imagine it's going to be quite lonely. You can only imagine it's going to be, you know, you're going to be in the public eye all the time, and you're going to share everything with everyone else. But when you get to the part where it's actually you and your husband or you and your wife, you're not going to share much because you've given it all somewhere else.
Yeah. No, she had quite a few cries for help, didn't she, with throwing herself down the stairs and with the bulimia and everything. Yeah.
It is. She had a very tragic life, and she, like you said, she definitely deserved better.
And we forget how young she was. She was so young when she married Charles. She was what, 18?
Yeah, she was 18. Spencer
I think
died.
she was around 18.
She was
the
youngest of the two Spencer children.
Yeah, she was so young, so young to be
Told
going through all that.
To the Spencer house because he was actually supposed to wed her older sister.
Yeah.
So,
Have you watched The Crown, Damon? You've not watched The Crown, have you? Okay.
no.
Yeah, it's
all
about the story.
I don't do reality TV and I don't do series. I hardly watch them. If I'm going to watch something, it's something. The only 3 series I've ever watched, I watched Criminal Minds for a long time. Game of Thrones. Everyone's seen Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, you're not cool.
Yeah.
And The Last Kingdom, I love that. But those are the only 3 I watch. I've not ever watched The Crown or anything like that. I'm more of a sit down and watch documentaries sort of guy. So
I think you'd like The Crown, though. You should give it a go. At least the later episodes with Princess Diana.
my mum and dad were obsessed with it. Well, it's just
it's quite compelling to watch. Very compelling.
Right. Scott says these theories can last for centuries. Look at Anne Boleyn. Still debates about who set her up. So Diana may never be solved. 100%. And this is the thing. If you actually look up the definition of conspiracy theory, it's only a theory where 2 or more people believe in that theory. So anything can be a conspiracy. You know, it's crazy. Natasha says, I read the coroner found a slight tear in her lung, which may have been avoided if she was on a seatbelt. This was a coroner that was brought in to look over the initial autopsy, I think. Yeah, and the rumor has it that they paid.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just don't know how corrupt it all is, do you? You have no idea.
Don't. And you can only imagine the influence you have as a royal over certain things. You know, you're not a normal person, and you're not a celebrity. You're almost above that. You know, you're a royal. I mean, if we look back in history, second to the king used to be second to the Pope. You know, and
well, it still is.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Church of England, isn't it? So they are actually closest to God, because it's Protestant religion, sorry, Church of England, whereas Catholicism is the Pope, isn't it? So
but if you look at it, if you go back in further in history, if you look at like stuff like the Khazarians or the Bulgarians, like the original Russian royal family, they compared themselves and says they believed they were actually gods. They believed they were gods.
yeah,
So imagine the influence you have as a royal over anything like that. Oh, and this is another thing that I really, really struggle with, is the fact of, if anybody in the whole world could set something like this up, it's going to be someone within the royalty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I just think it's such a shame, because when you look at the royal family now, you just think how much corruption there is. You know, the whole thing with Prince Andrew, which was absolutely horrific,
Disgusting.
and just what's going on, obviously, with Diana, and now with Harry as well, coming out with all these bombshells and things, which yeah, good for him, but it's just insane. It really is. Like, how much is how much is going wrong for the royal family at the moment? I think William and Kate are the only ones holding it together by a thread, aren't they?
Literally, everyone else is just rumors and rumors and rumors. Scott's put up this, and I think this actually highlights it. It says, unfortunately, now if it's found Charles was involved, he can't be charged with it because he's the king.
No.
And that's crazy.
And we'll never know. We will never know if he was involved or not. Let's face it, we'll never know.
No, there are certain conspiracies in which we will never find whether they are truth or are conspiracy. You know, look at the Roswell landings. Right, bearing in mind, we have the Official Secrecy Act and Withholding Public Information, the Freedom of Information Act, states that things can be withheld from the public for 50 years. Now, Roswell happened in the 40s. It's been more than 50 years, and we still don't know if something landed there.
Yeah. Damon, can we do a whole live on aliens? Because I really want to do that, because there's so much new stuff coming out about everything. So we definitely have to do a live on aliens.
100%. I've just finished Messengers of Deception by Jacques Vallée, which is an amazing book, and he talks about, there's an interview in there that he had with a French journalist, and he was in a cafe in Paris, and he actually turns around and says to him, I want to know the truth about Roswell, I want to know the truth about aliens. And he said, it's a lot bigger than you. If I tell you, you will be killed. So there is a lot when it comes to the alien conspiracies and stuff like that. I mean, because you look at Project Bluebeam, you have the Golden Passport, which is supposed to be done.
We'll definitely have to do a live on that. We definitely do. I'll be on it, definitely. So I've got a few other conspiracies about Diana, right? Have you heard the one that she was supposedly pregnant by Dodie?
It depends.
Dodie?
Yeah, well, they say it's Dodie's child, but they also say it was the bodyguard's child as well, so they're not 100% sure whose it was.
Mr. Fayad. Was that Dodie?
Fayad, yeah. That's Mohammed Al Fayad's son, the guy that owns Harrods.
Yeah.
Supposedly she was pregnant, and then the reason that she was killed, I'm not saying this is like public knowledge, and a lot of people share this opinion, not myself or Kate. The reason she was killed is because Dodie was a Muslim, and she would have to have a Muslim child, which would then put them in a situation. But then
crazy.
But then it turns out, right, and I don't believe this in a minute. If you look online now, you can find out someone has proven that Queen Elizabeth's heritage, if you trace her family tree back, she can actually be traced back to the Prophet Muhammad.
I heard about that. I don't know if that has any substance to it. I'll have to. No.
No.
No. I was like, okay. The other theory is that the paparazzi made the car crash intentionally, and I think that was what you were saying about the white car Fiat, white Fiat.
Yeah. Then supposedly they chased her to the point where they was trying to create a news story. They wasn't trying to kill her. They was trying to get her involved in an accident so it would increase paper sales. You know, money world go around. There's only one colour in the world, and that's green. So, sorry, just a quick question from Jessica just popped up on the first point. But if she was pregnant, wouldn't it be mentioned in the autopsy book? And that's the thing, it wasn't. I've read.
Yeah, I don't think she was. No,
I don't think she was pregnant at all.
no. We mentioned that there was something wrong with the Mercedes, like the brakes and blah blah blah. However, there were bright flashes and strange vehicles on the road before the accident, and then yeah,
They
like they said there were bright flashes in the tunnel, which distracted the driver for him to hit the.
They compared the flashes to what they call a phosphorus flash. So
Right.
back in the Victorian times, where they used to have cameras,
Yeah.
the flash would be created by a phosphorus bulb exploding. Supposedly it's
Right.
supposed to be extremely bright, and supposedly the flashes in the tunnel were compared to a phosphorus flash.
Oh my
And
gosh.
where the whole rumours of MI6 being involved was because at the time when Diana had her accident, they were actually working on something called it was a weaponized lighting system called the Hex, which was supposed.
Right.
They were developing it for warfare, where it flashed so bright that it would temporarily blind people for 30 to 50 seconds, and it was for general
Right.
phosphorus, and that's where the whole MI6 rumours come involved.
Right. I see. I see. Yeah. It's like what could that was just weird.
Mm.
Why at such force to have that sort of light in there? That's just insane.
Might have been aliens.
Could have been. That's a whole other conspiracy theory.
Oh yeah, we'll start our own one. As long as me and you believe it, Kate, it's a conspiracy. We'll be okay.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one I read about was just that her health was sabotaged, about the whole ambulance and the hospital and things. There was another thing about the Queen, how the Queen dealt with her death, which kind of triggered all of these conspiracy theories, because she wouldn't put the flag at half mast, right?
Yeah.
For a death of a family member.
Yeah, the reason behind it, they released a press release from the thingy, because she was divorced from Prince Charles. They only keep her HRH, which is Her Royal Highness, before her name, is because of her opinion within the public eye. She wasn't a royal, so they didn't have to fly the flag at half mast. But the general census of the population here in England when it happened, because I went down to lay flowers and I written a book of remembrance.
Oh.
My mum's a massive royal, and at the time, what was it, 1997? So I would have been 10.
Yeah.
So she dragged me down London, and we went down there, and it was amazing. But the general feeling down there was the pure disrespect, because whether she was a royal or not, she'd been part of that family, and she'd been part of our royal heritage as a nation. So just having the respect to fly that half mast would have been normal. Do you know what I mean?
And she's still the mother of the princes. You just can't erase that.
Exactly. Dave's asking, where's the footage from the tunnel? Funnily enough, that did actually go missing. The story that the French detective who was doing the investigation of the crash said that those cameras in that part of the tunnel were faulty at the time. So
coincidence again. Like there are just so many little things that when you put them all together, you just think, how is this even possible? It's how it has to be something more.
Scott's put up, was there not meant to be police security escort for Diana, where she went? If so, where was that at that night? When she divorced Prince Charles, there is a decree within the royals that once you divorce someone in the royals, you're no longer a royal, so you're no longer entitled to royal privileges. That includes police escorts and securities. The security,
which is like Harry now. That's what he's complaining about, because he doesn't have any security.
Exactly. He has no security, he has no inheritance, he has nothing. It all gets taken away from him because he's been disowned. And because Diana divorced, even though she kept her HRH because of her view in the public eye, she wasn't entitled to police escorts and security. The security that's actually with her on the night was actually paid by Mohammed Al Fayed himself.
Right.
there wouldn't have been any sort of police escort there for her at the time. So
Yeah.
everyone's just saying that it's convenient that it was faulty. The footage it is, and it is. You know, it always, whenever something big happens, footage seems to disappear. I mean, during the 9/11 attacks, if you actually look this up online, there was supposedly video footage taken from a petrol station that was opposite the Pentagon that caught into the side of the building. But all they actually pulled from that footage, bear in mind it was a high-tech CCTV system that can record full motion, was 4 frames, and all you literally see was nothing, just saw an explosion. So it happens a lot. It's convenience, isn't it?
Yeah. You just don't know what happens to it, really. It could go missing. People just take it or just don't. They say it's destroyed, but it isn't. You just don't know what they're covering up, do you, really?
No.
There was one thing that I didn't agree with, you know, talking about her death and the funeral. I was 7, so I don't. The only memory I have of it was watching the news.
I was 10.
Oh, I was 7. I was just 7 because my birthday's in June. And I remember. Sorry?
You're a 90s baby.
I am. I'm a proper 90s baby. 1990, proper.
87. Oh my God, I'm so old.
I feel like the generation before.
Dungarees and tie-dye t-shirts for me.
Yeah, whereas for me it was all like Pogs and Spice Girls.
Oh, I love the Spice Girls. Oh no, I can't believe I admitted that. Okay.
They're legends. But yeah, the only memory I have is watching everything on the news and kind of feeling sad because they were like covering what had happened and the accident, and then I remember the funeral and things. Why on earth did William and Harry have to walk behind their mum's coffin?
That was dreadful. I totally disagree with that.
What the hell were they thinking?
They should have a choice. They should have a choice. Whether they're children or not, you should have the choice. You know what I mean? They're make decisions like they're able to make what they call, I don't know how to explain it. They're able to make sensible decisions, so they had the choice. They were forced to walk behind that, and it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
It is. They're traumatized. Harry has even said he's traumatized from that day. And the other sad thing that he said, which totally makes sense in that situation, and I can't even begin to imagine, is that he never believed that his mum had died. He always said that she was faking it, she was going to come back for them. Yeah. And it just breaks my heart when he talks about that. It's so sad. It really is.
It's very, very sad. Have you heard the theory that she was killed because of important information?
No, I haven't heard that one. What important information?
So we all know that Diana done a lot of work in war-torn countries, places like Africa, and working alongside, you know, villages that had mines around them. She was always working in third world countries or war-torn countries that were in civil war and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can imagine working in that sort of environment. You learn things like, i.e., where the rebels are getting their arms from, how they're getting their arms, if they're using drugs to buy the arms. Now, there was a rumour, if you actually think, there was a G8 summit literally to happen in France 2 weeks after her accident.
Okay.
There was rumours that she was gonna go to the G8 summit and give away all this information, how the rebels were getting their weapons, how they were getting their money, where they were sending the drugs to. And she was supposed to give away a lot of high cartel names as well. And the rumour has it that these cartels had her killed and made to look like her.
Right. Would she realistically do that? No, because she's a mother. Would you really jeopardize your children's safety? That's how I would think.
Yeah, no, and I get that. And I understand as a normal person, as a person not in the public eye. Now, if you had an opportunity to make the world a better place, the position that Diana was, where you was in the public eye, every step you made was watched. Your children are 2 of the most famous children in the world. That gives you more incentive to be that person, to bring this information to fluidity, because everything you do is watched. It's not like me and you. We could disappear off the face of the planet. The only people that miss us is our family and friends. if Diana went missing off the face of the planet, or Will and Harry went missing off the face of the planet, there'll be questions asked. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
You look at it in that sense, it makes a lot of sense. It's not something that I believe.
Sure.
My personal opinion is she was killed for another reason. Don't know if I want to say it on air, but it's very deep. When you get into the whole Diana thing, it's very, very deep. Like super.
Right.
I believe that it's just typically that she was killed so that Prince Charles can move on and marry someone else.
Yeah. Well, he married his childhood sweetheart, didn't he?
Yeah, Camilla.
Yeah.
Did she when he was crowned, did she become the queen or did she sustain? I don't remember.
Isn't she queen consort? Like, please, anybody, put it in the comments. But I think she's queen consort, which is.
Right. She's queen's consort. Yeah, I just got that confirmed.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Personally, this is my opinion. Why Charles took the throne? I don't know why it couldn't go directly to William and Catherine. Why? Because he knows he's not popular.
No one likes him. He's got really big ears.
Oh, Damien, you can't say that.
I can say what I like. This is my show. Oh, well, she's got one. Really? I've just been told that officially the money with Prince Charles's face on is now officially in circulation.
No way. What a day.
Yeah. I'm going to nick it. I need to get it. Just a couple of people agreeing with you saying that was so sad, those poor children. I agree with you, Kate. And what an amazing funeral, though.
Yeah.
What an amazing day. What an amazing send-off. And I liked the way, right? And I don't know, when her funeral is, I can't remember the name of her brother that stood up. And
can't
remember his name.
No, I can't remember his name.
I know his name is Spencer, but his speech, if you actually listen to it, if you read in between the lines, there was a lot of hints at the fact it wasn't the paparazzi that killed her.
Right. Okay.
You know, because he
have to look into that.
There's a speech where he goes, "Whoever is responsible knows they're responsible."
Oh.
And you think to yourself, okay, so that must have been something that's been done on purpose. You know what I mean?
Because I know that she used to write to him a lot, and she would open her heart to him a lot. So you just don't know what he knows, really. I know that didn't they fall out at some point, but then I'm not sure. They had quite a rocky relationship. At some point. But and also the fact that she's not buried as a royal, which I understand because she's divorced or whatever, but she's now resting in the Spencer estate, isn't she? There's a little island
in the middle of the lake. Which perfect for her. As much as should have got the treatment of a royal, I think that's better for her. I think where she's back with her family, the boys know where. You know what I mean, so that's probably the best place for her to be. Just a comment from Jessica, which I think was quite good. She said everything that she did was watched till the point of her death, which strangely wasn't watched at all. Does that make sense? Not at all. You're talking about a woman who was number one in the public eye. I mean, she kissed Dodi Al-Fayed on a boat in the French when she was in France, and it was on every single newspaper for like 2 weeks. You know, and they died, and no one can get any footage of her at all whatsoever. All the paparazzis were outside waiting for her to come out of this hotel. They had to go out the back. You know, like Jessica said, she was literally the most watched person ever.
Yeah. I mean, how can you live like that?
It must have been horrible.
Yeah. Like, even when she was staying somewhere, she constantly had to have the curtains closed all the time, and you can't move, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. And I thought she was quite fair with the paparazzi, because you see when she would take the boys out, she would say, okay, you can have your photos now, but give me space now, let me spend time with the boys, let me do this, let me do that. And some of the paparazzi, excuse my French, but were total bastards. They would just totally just walk all over her and just didn't care about her privacy or anything like that. And you just think, you know,
I've never heard you swear.
I know.
That's
That
really.
got me angry.
It was
Like
very
not
polite.
being fair.
It was very polite, swear. I'll let you have that one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but I mean, come on, just give her private. Like that was fair. She let you take the pictures. Let her spend time with her boys without a camera in her face. It was just so uncalled for. It was so mean. I just don't get that.
100%. 100% agree with you on everything you said there. Tracy's put up, I agree with Damon. It was definitely something to do with them, and she should have been any. She should be any sort of queen. No, not at all. Don't think so. Scott says, I believe that if she was killed, it was because she was in the way. 100%. And Hugh's saying, "Get 'em, Kate."
I feel really bad now. It's like the first time I sweared. Oh my gosh.
I swear all the time. Don't worry about it.
I know you do, Damon.
Oh, thanks.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, I agree with you. I think the way that she was treated compared to others was disgusting, and I don't believe the narrative that was spread of how she died or why she died. I don't believe that. I don't. Apart from my own personal opinions, there's nothing that's been proven in solid concrete of this is what's happened. This is why. Like you said, there's like 175 different, if you want to call them, rumors in how. But I don't think, one thing I know for sure is I don't think the official story that was released after the investigation is the truth at all. Yeah,
I think you're right. I just think there's so many little things that all add up, and we'll never know the truth. It would be nice to know the truth, especially to just respect her and her life. But unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get that truth, what really happened on that evening.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
So we're getting towards the end of the show, so I think we need to look at the blame game. So there are a lot of people that are blamed for her death.
Okay.
You have obviously the obvious ones, the Queen, Prince Charles. You also have rumours that MI6 done it because, like I said, the rumours that she was going to blow off all this information about, you know, these war-torn countries, and MI6 was supposed to be involved in that because they did supply some of the to certain rebels and so on. That's the rumor. You also have rumors that Mohammed Al Fayed actually done it himself so that he can build up the the public profile of himself and his business. Now, I do not believe that at all.
No.
You wouldn't kill your own child to profit. Do you know what I mean?
And he was very fond of Diana, from what I gathered.
Yeah, he was the only one speaking out. Him and Diana's brother were the only two that were speaking out about what had happened. And he said, "I will get to the truth." And I'm pretty sure he's still searching today for it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I've said, but my dad actually came across Prince Charles in his car once when he was driving around London. Yeah. Like the windows were down, and I think my dad was in a car or driving, and Prince Charles was driving. Like he's now king, but yeah, then Prince Charles. I think my dad said something to him like "Good morning," like being really polite, and he just totally ignored my dad.
Out of order.
Just looked at him like a piece of dirt, and my dad was like, "Okay then."
I have a claim to fame when it comes to the royals. My cousin, her two children, go to the same school as Prince George. They got invited to Prince George's birthday party, and my cousin spent time with Kate Middleton. And she said that she's the most down-to-earth person she's ever met in her life.
Oh, lovely. That's so nice to hear.
Like that sort of person. Do you know what I mean? She definitely looks like that sort of person, you know?
Yeah, she does. She seems very genuine. Like she really cares. Yeah.
What? I've got my vape on charge, yeah. Oh god, sorry, I'm being told off. I smoked too, apparently. I've got nothing better to do, so there you go.
What
So,
about your protein shakes?
oh, I've got no.
There we are.
It goes everywhere with me. It goes everywhere with me. So, chat room, let us know what you think when it
Yes,
comes.
please do. Does anybody have any other theories? Are there any other theories that we've missed or not covered?
The theory that she was abducted by Bigfoot, or maybe she was eaten by the Loch Ness, or attacked by a little grey being from the planet Mars.
Maybe she time traveled. That's what the Flash was.
Oh, don't! I got well into a rabbit hole. Right? No, seriously. I was listening to this podcast by the conspiracy guys about there is, I can't remember every time I go to remember his name, I can't remember it. But there was a count, like that's like a title in it, like because you have the Count of Monte Cristo. But there was a count, and he has actually been seen in every century dating back to like the 1300s.
Right.
And they actually say that he's a time traveler, and I got lost in this mad rabbit hole.
Oh.
Trying to prove that this guy can time travel.
Oh my gosh, Damon. That's
But
some rabbit hole.
and then I found this theory that supposedly in the Vatican vaults there is a time traveling machine, but it can only go back 7 minutes.
Oh.
That's not. Imagine if you could go back 7 minutes. Because you think about it, right? That's how long it takes you. That's how long it takes me to eat my dinner. So I can get a bit of digestion and think, oh, I don't like that. Go back 7 minutes and eat something different, so I feel a bit better.
That would be a good use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely. I'm not sure how good it would be in the face of Armageddon, or
Oh no, definitely not. No, you know what I mean. It definitely
can't get anywhere in 7 minutes.
Shouts out to Jeanette saying, thanks for tonight. We finally covered Dyer. Really interesting. I would love to go into it in a lot more detail.
Yeah, I don't think we can, though.
I don't think we can. Not keeping it tasteful, no. I will look at ways of getting the Patreon back up and going for the guys who subscribe. That way it's a little bit more open for us to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a good idea.
maybe me and Kate can get together and record a show on it. We're definitely going to do the alien show, 100%.
Yes, please.
That Messages of Deception is something you've got to read, Kate. Anything
I will.
by Ballet or Antoine Valin, anything by these guys, their alien knowledge is beyond. And I tell you, there's someone else you need to listen to. There's a podcast by a guy called Isaac Weishaupt.
Okay.
And he is a occult theorist within popular culture nowadays, but he covers a lot of the alien agenda.
Okay, that's cool.
Stuff is amazing. He covers the whole, because supposedly this Project Bluebeam thing that's happening is supposed to be a projection. They've got the technology now to project something so it looks real. So they're going to project a alien invasion to instill panic into the general public, so that we end up destroying to reduce the population, like a form of culling. So
right.
That's the idea. Scott saying, I think the blame has to sit on Charles's door. I may be wrong, but it worked out well for him. Agree.
I agree.
Agree 100%. I don't know if it was solely him. We've actually, like me and Kate have talked about tonight about the influence of the royals. So he could, but I don't think the sole blame is with him. You know.
Do you know what? What kind of gets me thinking is he's kind of swept it under the carpet. Like, he's never really talked about it, has he?
He hasn't.
Why is that?
It is very strange. You know, that's something.
Yeah.
If you they were married for like 5-6 years, well, probably longer than that.
Yeah, and they have 2 heirs to the throne. Like, why do you not talk about her?
It would be something that would definitely sort of, you would have to talk about it to come to terms with it.
Also, in the coronation, there was no tribute to her. Like, I know that Catherine was wearing jewelry.
Yeah.
Diana's jewelry, but why was there nothing? Like, why has it all just been swept under the carpet? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, no, it definitely is crazy. Hugh saying thanks, Damon and Kate. Not a problem, Hugh.
Welcome, Hugh. Thank you for watching.
Scott saying, a brilliant show, folks. Really enjoyed it. Very interesting. It's always interesting.
Thank you, Scott.
Always interesting. I don't know if you guys ever want to check out a really cool show that me and Kate done. We spoke about nursery rhymes and their original meanings. That was a mind-blowing show.
We need to do part 2. Can we do part 2?
We can do part 2. Kate, I think we've arranged enough shows to... I'll be fine. Fine.
You'll have enough of me by then. So, oh God, have to do another live with Kate now.
Never. Yeah, we will do that. But if you guys, if you want to check out any of our previous shows, please head over to facebook.com/TOD Paranormal. All the shows are uploaded on there. They're also uploaded onto our YouTube channel as well. So all you have to do is search The Other Dimension in the search bar on YouTube, and you can catch all the shows on there. I just want to say thank you to Kate for coming on tonight. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. Really do so much information all the time, and it's just easy to have a chat with you.
Thank you, Damon. Likewise, I really appreciate it, and it's been really fun. It's something that I've really wanted to talk about, and yeah, we've done it. It's interesting.
It's been really good. I mean, it's nice to sort of look at her in a way where we're sort of celebrating what she did and understand, and not sitting there and sort of doing it in a distasteful way, which is, it sort of pays a good respect to her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just looking at all the theories and just thinking about it logically and just respecting her memory totally.
Yeah. Everyone's saying brilliant show. Actually, Tracy Ferndog saying really enjoyed it. Nico saying great show, guys. Have a nice weekend, everyone. You have a nice weekend, Nico.
So Nico,
it's come to the end of the show now, and don't forget we have loads of shows here on The Other Dimension. Like I said, you can find them all on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/TOD Paranormal. I do believe Ben's back on Friday with me. I don't think there's a Sunday show this week. And I don't think there's a Witch's Closet this week either, as Scarlet Witch is on holiday.
Yes.
The next show will be Friday. It'll be me and Ben and Lou will be back on air. Kate will be in the comments, like she always is.
I will. I'll be pestering you with loads of questions as usual.
Yep. Saying, please do the nursery rhymes. I missed it last time. We will definitely do it. Kate blew my mind in that show because she was talking about some of the stuff, and when you actually think about the way it's worded and how it's sort of put together, you go, holy crap, there are children singing this.
I know. I love nursery rhymes. I really do. Right up my street.
So, right, end of the show. It's thank you everyone for locking in. I'm off now. It's bye from me and bye from Kate.
Bye. Thank you.
And always remember, guys, if there's no other explanation, there is always the other dimension. Have a great weekend, and thank you for locking in